MIA. Him and Kerry conspired to make sure people know about the vets that were still there.
He says, "Stop it. Those text messages are really damaging to the lies we are trying to perpetrate."
Yo, her shitbag father's reason that POW MIA. Him and Kerry conspired to make sure people know about the vets that were still there. That's why we had that problem.
So after Megan tweets that, "Stop."
If you're like me, you just went, what did he just say? Anytime you don't understand what Kurt Metzger says, look it up. We're going to do that right now. Let's watch it one more time. And it'll blow your mind because you know it already. You just don't know the faces and the names like he does. And it'll blow your mind.
That's why we had that problem.
Those text messages are really damaging to the lies we are trying to perpetrate.
Yo, her shitbag father's reason that POW MIA. Him and Kerry conspired to make sure people know about the vets that were still there. Reason that POW MIA. Him and Kerry conspired to make sure people know about the vets that were still there. That's why we had that problem.
So after Megan tweets that,
no concert. You're telling me that that's bad to share the text messages that show us the truth. Fuck you. And fuck your dad too, bitch.
I like what Spencer Guthrie says here. He says, "Stop it. Those text messages are really damaging to the lies we are trying to perpetrate."
Yo, her shitbag father's reason that POW MIA. Him and Kerry conspired to make sure people know about the vets that were still there. That's why we had that problem.
So after Megan tweets that, "Stop sharing dead people's text message,"
sure people know about the vets that were still there.
Lies we are trying to perpetrate.
Her dad, it's a McCain. We're going to get this.
Yo, her shitbag father's reason that POW MIA. Him and Kerry conspired to make sure people know about the vets that were still there.
McCain and Kerry.
That's why we had that problem.
So after Megan tweets that, "Stop sharing dead people's text messages, you're absolute psychopaths."
Just share their political organization with their wife who was in on their murder.
So in your view, the real psychopaths aren't the people posting from Charlie Kirk's original accounts after his death, the ones deleting his podcast episodes, publishing books in his name, or flipping his positions for political convenience?
Yeah, or your shitbag Satanist father, you fat pig.
No, the psychopaths are the people quoting him in his own words, just to make sure he isn't remembered differently from what he actually said. Right. Do I have that right, Meghan McCain?
You do, sir. Yeah, because her dad, that's how his legacy is.
Tweeting,
piece of shit, you know?
Tweeting from Charlie's Twitter account and maintaining the Charlie Kirk show, that's okay.
But it's okay.
That's why, after I left the agency, I went to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. I was the senior investigator there. And I was working for John Kerry. And his office in the Russell Senate office building was directly next to John McCain's. And every single time McCain would see me, he would go out of his way to come and shake my hand and say, "Hi, John, how are you?" I'd say, "I'm great, Senator. How are you doing? Good to see you again." And finally, Kerry said to me one day, "Why don't you and McCain get a room or something?" And I said, "No." I said, "We have a connection over torture because he knows that I'm right. He knows because he lived it." That's why, after I left the agency, I went to the...
That's interesting to know, ain't it? Now, what was the one right before this I was going to watch? Right here.
I get dermaplaned every single week, and the lady at the spa told me a week ago I could be doing the same thing from home to save money.
They would hang him from his arms, yank his arms out of their sockets. They would beat him with sticks. They would engage in mental torture as well.
He doesn't wave like this. He waves like this. And that's because he can't lift his arms over his shoulders due to the torture that he suffered at the hands of the Vietnamese.
4 days of intense beatings result in McCain reading a scripted confession. He is tormented by his perceived failure to uphold the military's honor code.
I saw people, and I know people, that underwent far more severe brutality than I experienced, and they didn't crack. And they were my role models. I did not live up to the standards that I'd hoped that I could live up to.
I don't know that he ever forgave himself. The other prisoners did, and everyone else pretty much did, but I'm not sure he ever forgave himself.
And while a son suffers in prison, a father suffers in silence.
He never asked for any special favors for his son, ever. But every year at Christmas, he would go to the demilitarized zone, which was the strip of land between South and North Vietnam. And he would just stare into that country that was holding his son. He never talked about it. He never said what he was thinking, but he did it every year for 5 years.
When he is released from solitary, John McCain's other heroes are waiting for him.
The other prisoners in the camp nursed him back to health. They helped him. They cleaned his wounds. They spoon-fed him because he couldn't lift his arms. And they nursed him back to relative health.
They said, get up, go back into the fight. You're not defeated. Go back into the fight.
And so many years later, another powerful message delivered by a fellow POW in that familiar tapping code.
And he's going to do GBU, which means God bless you, which is obviously the tap code that we used. And
so that actually just made me more confused. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do some homework. He's talking about that torture thing, but then he got really upset. Like, maybe it was all made up, or I don't understand why he's mad. I got to go back and do research.